Hi, Max Wright here from Success Council, and in today's episode we're going to ask the question, is this the beginning of Bitcoin Mania 3.0? And I'll tell you up front that I think we are at the beginning of Bitcoin Mania 3.0. And I'm also going to share the story about how myself and my partners were the victims of a $180,000 Bitcoin heist. So I think Bitcoin Mania 3.0 is going to introduce millions upon millions of newbies to Bitcoin. And later on in this video, I'm going to tell you how you can protect yourself so that you do not suffer the horrible fate that I had of having such a large loss. So we're going to cover all that in this video today. So I guess it's only fair I define Bitcoin Mania 3.0, seeing as how it's just something I made up a little while ago. In Bitcoin's existence, there have been two other occasions where the price has just skyrocketed like 10 or 20 times over the space of a few months and crashed back down by like 50, 60, 70, even up to 80%. The price just shot up like 10 or 20 times and crashed back down 50, 60%. Now from here to here was still a great gain, but my goodness, it was an incredible ride along the way, and I call that Bitcoin Mania. So let's just, so you know what I'm talking about, let's just go and have a look at the charts and we'll refresh our memories of Bitcoin Mania 1.0 and 2.0. So we can see here on this graph, this is the lifetime price of Bitcoin. And we can see way back here in June of 2011, there was Bitcoin 1.0. It barely registers as a blip now, but that was it. Of course, April of 2013 is Bitcoin 2.0. And just recently, that high in April of 2013 was just beat today, November 7th. And today, I think we're launching into Bitcoin Mania 3.0. We'll come to that in a second. So first, we're just going to zoom up, take a look at what happened in Bitcoin Mania 1.0 and 2.0. Hopefully, it can give us some clues to make some predictions about 3.0. So I'm going to kick back here. This is June 2011. And you can see the price kind of ticked along here. With Bitcoin was around 70 cents, 80 cents, 90 cents, something like that. And then in the space of a couple of months, it shot up to $33 before plummeting back down to about $10. Now, over the next few months, it dwindled down even further, and it kind of went down to about $2.50. Now, it lived there. If we go back to the long-term chart, it lived down there in this in the doldrums for a very, very long time, 18 months. So if you bought at the top of Bitcoin 1.0, you had to wait about 18 months before you got your money back. But boy, your patience was rewarded because Bitcoin Mania 2.0 hit, and you went from at $33, which is the last high, then we went up to $266. But it actually rose from around about $11. So I first introduced Success Council customers to Bitcoin in January of 2013 when the price was $11. And within a handful of months, it was up to $266 before, let's just zoom up on this. Here is that graph zoomed up. So this is Bitcoin Mania 2.0. We can see here we're in April of 2013. The price goes from January, the price is about $11. It goes up to $266 before crashing back down to $60. And over the next few months, it settles off at around about $100. Now, it kind of rested at $100 for a few months, got a little bit on the boring side. And here is, on this chart, we can see, here's like July of 2013 to today. And it lived around this $100 mark for quite a while. And then in October, November, we had the really big kick, and it went from 140 up to, and we're touching on 280 now as we speak. So I believe this is the beginning of Bitcoin Mania 3.0. So let's think about this. Why would Bitcoin Mania exist? Why do we have these crazy highs followed by these crazy crashes? So I think it's important to remember that at its heart, Bitcoin is a disruptive technology. It's a vastly superior form of currency than government-issued fiat paper. Pretty much everything is, but for reasons we won't get into here, Bitcoin has some special properties that allow it to succeed where other things don't. So we would expect it to follow the typical adoption curve of a disruptive technology. And let's use the example of a digital camera. So at the begin with, they're expensive, and some super uber geeks, maybe professionals, had these digital cameras, and they were called the innovators. And slowly but surely, after some months or years, people started to see digital cameras around and thought, oh, I kind of want that. And then the early adapters got on board, and then it kind of went down that you kind of saw digital cameras all over the place. And then the masses got on board. and there was an explosion in use of popularity. And then finally, over the following years, the laggards get on board, and finally, one day, everybody has a digital camera. So that's the path we would expect Bitcoin to take in terms of usage, and that's what we are seeing. I think we're still way down here in the innovator stage, very, very early in the curve, but what we're seeing with regards to adoption. And that's really the true value of Bitcoin. The more places you can use it as money, the more valuable it is as money. So why do we see these violent swings in prices when the adoption curve is something relatively nice and smooth like this curve? And with regards to digital cameras, fear and greed didn't play into anything. And no one overextended themselves and got so excited. It's like, these digital cameras are going to be the next big things. I'm going to go and buy 20 of them. And when there's some little flaw found or some little bad press about digital cameras, you didn't think, oh my God, I'm going to lose all my money and throw your digital cameras out the window or just sell them at any price you could. That kind of thing doesn't happen. But with Bitcoin, there is an incredible potential to make money, which brings the greed. And then there's also obviously the potential to lose money, which brings the fear. And so as we progress along the adoption curve, what I think we're going to see many, many times over, I think there'll be Bitcoin Mania 50.0. What we'll see is you'll see people just, oh my God, my friend bought Bitcoin last month and he's doubled his money already. I've got to get involved. And the greed takes over and they start doing silly things like using next month's rent to buy, I'll just put next month's rent into Bitcoin. I'll sell it, I'll pay my rent, I'll make a bunch of money, it'll be sweet. And that greed takes over people and they start speculating on Bitcoin with money they really shouldn't and can't afford to lose, which is a huge mistake. And that causes this huge spike in price. Then all of a sudden the price starts to crash, or there's some bad press, and all those people who can't afford to lose money just have to sell at whatever price they can. And of course, you get this tremendous drop. So I think that explains why we're seeing Bitcoin manias take place, and I think it's why we'll continue to see them. Now, if we go back here to the lifetime chart of Bitcoin, we see that it took 18 months from Bitcoin Mania 1.0, this peak back here in June of 2011, to surpass. Now, this time around, it's only taken 6 months, from April to November, 7 months maybe. And I think you will kind of see the Bitcoin Mania is getting closer and closer together just because of the flow of information. The more people are around and kind of following that S-curve, the adoption curve, well, you also get, as the masses get involved, as more people get involved, then you're going to start seeing these things get closer and closer together. Something else also interesting happens. On the previous Bitcoin Mania, so in this Bitcoin Mania, a whole bunch of people, thanks to all the press and the skyrocketing prices, a whole bunch of brand new people got introduced to Bitcoin. Now, included in that were a whole bunch of entrepreneurs who came up and started businesses. Well, those businesses can take 6 to 18 months to come to fruition. So all the people who got excited about Bitcoin here started building businesses. Well, some of them did, the entrepreneurs did. Fast forward 6 months, those businesses are starting to come online. And we see that in the news feed about Bitcoin all the time. Amazing new businesses and new products and services coming out all the time. So everything kind of matches up in my mind about why it's happening, what we can expect to happen. And if we go back and look at what kind of happened in the past, we can, and if you just kind of look at Bitcoin Mania 1.0, look at Bitcoin Mania 2.0, and if we were to make some predictions about Bitcoin Mania 3.0, we could say, well, from what I'm seeing, if it was to repeat the same practice, Bitcoin prices would get to about $2,000, somewhere between $2,000 and $2,500, before crashing back down to about $700 to $1,000, and then leveling off somewhere around there a little bit higher. So, of course, there's absolutely no guarantees that Bitcoin Mania 3.0 will even occur, or let alone it will occur in the same kind of ratios as Bitcoin Mania 1.0 and 2.0. But if it was to happen, that gives us some kind of guideline as to what we're going to do. So the question we can ask ourselves is, should we make some kind of a trade, try and pick the top and make the sell, and then buy back in at the bottom? Well, the challenge you got with that is that if you get out of Bitcoin, you have this nice, safe, secure currency which is all yours, and you put it, you cash out of that, and you're into fiat now. Well, now your money's sitting in a bank account. It's either in your bank account or it's sitting in a bank account of an exchange. And who knows when the bank that's in is going to go Cyprus, and they're just going to keep half of it. So it's really frustrating that you've got to be it's risky to do the trade because you've got to put yourself back in fiat to make that trade. I'm really hoping that one of the precious metals dealers and storage houses steps up and starts accepting Bitcoin for precious metals. Now, there is a company called Coinable who does accept Bitcoin for precious metals, But what they do is they don't store the precious metals, so they send you the gold, and if you want to buy back with, you can buy Bitcoin with gold. You got to send them the gold and silver. Now you're talking about a month to make this trade, so that in a somewhat safe way. So that's rather frustrating. I'm hoping James Turk over there at goldmoney.com, Mike Maloney at goldsilver.com, the guys at Kitco, any one of the hundreds of other companies around the world who will buy and store gold. Guys, please step up. Someone start accepting Bitcoin, because I'd be really keen to make that trade, but I want to do it not with fiat, but with precious metals. So hopefully that will come about. So that's my take on Bitcoin Mania 3.0. I think it has begun, and I think the price is going to go up very, very significantly before crashing back down, still ending up much higher than it is now, but that's my take on it. Now, I've got to state the obvious here. I'm not licensed, professional, anything like that. These are just my opinions, my thoughts, and I'm just sharing with you some of the strategies that are going through my head about how to take advantage of something I think may happen. No guarantees that it will. Beware, you can certainly lose money with Bitcoin. Actually, be very, very aware. Like Bitcoin can go to zero. That's absolutely possible, and so everything can be lost. So never ever invest money in Bitcoin or purchase Bitcoin with money you can't afford to lose. Now, earlier I said I wanted to share with you that how I was the victim of a $180,000 Bitcoin heist. The reason I want to share that with you is that hopefully you can protect yourself so that you don't fall victim to the same kind of scam. So let me tell you how it came about, just very quickly. I was first introduced to Bitcoin sort of 2012, and I said, just meeting a dude, I'll buy a couple $100 worth. That's cool. And I bought a couple $100 worth of Bitcoin, and I made a quick little wallet and made a password, and didn't give it too much thought. I gave it about $100 worth of thought as to how secure I should be with my password and everything that I used. Well, a few months goes by, and I've learned a lot more about Bitcoin. I've thrown some extra money in, and the price has gone up like 20 times. And now all of a sudden, there's significant amounts of money being protected with $100 worth of thought. And of course, it's just one of those things that you tell yourself you're going to get around to doing and taking care of, and learning the nuances of Bitcoin security and how to protect yourself. And of course, I just put it off, and one day I woke up, and somehow, I don't know, the hacker who stole it wasn't courteous enough to leave me a note telling me how they did it. I just woke up one day and the Bitcoin wallet was empty. And so very, very sad, as you can imagine. So I want to share with you, so what I did in the end was I used a product called Armory. And if you just Google Armory Bitcoin, I'll put the link in the description in the YouTube video as well. So that's what I used. That's a really high level of security, as I understand it. And I did a fair amount of research after the fact, unfortunately. And they have paper wallets and they have offline wallets, and you can use both of those features. You can read about them and see how that works. So yeah, if you're new to Bitcoin, just kind of learning about it right now, now is a great time to be involved. And maybe you could end up like this gentleman here. A man in Norway recently discovered a stash of Bitcoins he bought back in 2009. He spent $27 on Bitcoins in 2009, and because of their incredible price increase, they're now worth just shy of $1 million. So yeah, if you're a beginner, no problem. Just throw a couple bucks at it if you can. I think we could see incredible prices in Bitcoin, because I still think we're very, very early in that adoption curve. Now, to make getting started with Bitcoin as easy as possible for Success Council members, a few months back, I made a little 10-part video series which teaches you everything you need to know. It's how to buy Bitcoin, how to sell Bitcoin, how to spend Bitcoin, how to store Bitcoin, how to accept Bitcoin if you're a Bitcoin business and you want to get people to allow people to pay you with Bitcoin. And it's a neat little thing. What I've decided to do is bundle it up, call it the Bitcoin Starter Kit, and make it available to non-members of Success Council for just $27. So I think that's a great idea if you're getting started. It's going to save you hours upon hours of research and give you some peace of mind as you get involved in Bitcoin. So if you want to do that, I'll make this I'll make this video a link. So just click on my big melon or something, and it'll go through a page where you can find out more about that. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this little roundup, and Bitcoin's very, very exciting. The Bitcoin revolution has begun. I'll see you soon.